How do you use the Midi Fighter Twister in order to DJ and do some nudging type action like a deck? I'll show you in this video. Here we go. So when I first bought the Midi Fighter Twister, I bought it purposefully to do DJing inside of Ableton. But then basically my friend had a DJ controller and him and I started DJing a little bit back and forth with a DJ software and a DJ controller. Then I started using a DJ software and I started saying to myself, ooh, that's pretty nice. I wonder if I can do that with my MIDI controller, my DJ Tech Tools Midi Fighter Twister. So I started experimenting around, and I'm going to link in, there's a video on YouTube that goes over like all of the settings of the Midi Fighter Twister utility app. So you can customize it and program it however you want. But in order to do this one action, this jog wheel action, it wasn't super obvious. And the way that I had found it to be set up in other people's setups, it was like, it wasn't very fun to do, and you couldn't really get it to move. I watched this really great overview video of the Midi Fighter utility app. And that's the app that allows you to control all of the buttons, right? All the buttons, all the knobs. There was a setting in the setup, in the utility fighter, that the instructor of that video did not know what it did. And I also didn't. What he was showing was the encoder MIDI type right here. And he didn't know what this ENC3FH/F1H was. And I also did not know what it was until I saw it somewhere else. I was poking around inside of the DJ MIDI settings. So when I'm poking around, first, most of them are set to control type fader/knob. And then I see that this same 3FH/41H is available. So then I start reading through the manuals. And as it turns out, this 3FH/41H setting is what's known as a relative encoder mode. So what does that mean? Let me explain. So when you have your Midi Fighter controller, or really any controller that has encoders, and that's what these are if you're not aware, and it's basically these dials are what they call encoders. So when you have these encoders, usually they go from 0 and then they go all the way up to 127 over here at the maximum range. That's the sort of normal range of a CC controller, a MIDI controller. Now, what this relative 3F1/41H is, this relative mode, instead of it going from, just going from 0 up to 127, it sends out a signal that's basically like, I'm going lower or I'm going higher, right? And so instead of it going all the way around, it just can continue to spin in a direction, and it just knows that you're going to the left or to the right. And so that's how I set it up with the Midi Fighter Twister. All right, so first step is you're gonna open up your Midi Fighter utility. You're gonna click on the encoder that you want to adjust. You have to have the encoder plugged in, the Midi Fighter Twister plugged in, and then you're gonna select from the drop down here, encoder 3FH/F1H, and I did it for basically a deck 1 over here and then another one over here. And then once you edit both of those, I've set mine to sensitivity of responsive. So if I really give it a fast twist, it should move faster theoretically. But you can test that out with the different high resolution, velocity sensitive. I've been playing around with it. But then anyway, you're gonna hit send to Midi Fighter. Okay, perfect. That's step 1. Okay, so first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open up Djay, and you're gonna go to MIDI, and then you're gonna hit configure Midi Fighter Twister. It's going to pop up here. Okay, and once this is open, what you're going to do is you're going to twist whichever controller that you want to set up, right? And then it's automatically going to show that line right here. So if I twist this one, it shows this. If I twist this one, it shows the next one. And then if you haven't, you're going to hit Show Advanced Control Options. And you're going to hit Control Type. And then you're going to select, it's usually going to be on fader/knob, but you're going to set up rotary 3F/F1H. And you can mess around with these controls, the speed and the reaction, as well as inverting it or not. But basically, it's going to impact how quickly or how slowly it responds to each one. And this is where I've just settled. It's like around 150 for the speed and around 90 for the responsiveness. I think they're, yeah, like, I'm playing around with it. You have kind of got to play around with it to figure out what's right for you. Click done, and then you're set up for when the tracks are playing. And you can see they're like a little bit off here on the grid. And so I'll just make them more off here. So, wow, okay, these are really off. And then I'm just going to, maybe I'll adjust this one here. Just pull this one forward a little bit. All right, and then now they're lined up, which is awesome. And you know, when you're listening in, you can really tell that they're on. So that's how I've had it set up. And then if you come in here, if you click, I have it set up so that this is a different controller now over here. And I've set this up to jog seek. And again, I've changed the control type here for each one of these. And I'm just going to click done. And so you can see that. And so now you can see I can scroll through the track pretty quickly. My mind is like, you know, if I was spinning it kind of, you know, if I was spinning it on the deck, right? But this way we can really control where we want to be. And then I click again and I can make those micro adjustments to line up our songs. All right, and that is sort of the basic setup of how to set up your DJ with your Midi Fighter Twister. I'm going to be leaving some links in the description of basically a MIDI map that you can just download and install into this, and everything should theoretically be working properly. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a lot of fun with this device. It's super fun for me to play. And I'll also include a link in the description of just like a demonstration as well. And I'm going to be doing some more tutorials surrounding music production. If you want to see those, go ahead and like, subscribe. Let's go.